Never stop improving. We want to fast track your success. Forms, checklists, visuals, and the dialogues all in one place, only available inside Josh Phegan Digital. Well, hi there, and welcome to this month's Growth, Leadership and Management Tip. In being a great business owner, what you've got to realize is that a market goes in cycles. And one of those cycles to understand is what we've actually just been through over the course of 2019. So what are some of the greatest lessons that we learn in business? Well, what we know is that when it goes through a market cycle, there's new skills that you need to bring to the table. The secret of what you've been coaching your agency in is a lot of deal support. What we saw in the first 6 months of this year was really talking to people about how we actually become a great agent. And this is the conversation that we had sellers that were selling in a downward market, getting to the bottom of that cycle, and we then had to present information in context. And this was the basic, right? Making sure that when we present an offer, we don't present it in isolation. We bring a second offer in. So we've got an offer here and an offer here, and then the owner's expectation here. But this offer is now much more palatable because we've been able to show the offer over here. What we also learned is there's a lot about agent motivation, understanding the importance about doing the hard work, a lot of private buyer appointments, rather than just turning up and open for inspections and hoping that we'd meet the buyer. This is where really the power of a database was incredibly important. And as a business leader, you would have found that a lot of agents were really looking towards using off-market as a tool to be able to get a property sold rather than having to go to auction day. But didn't things change? In the last few months of the year, all of a sudden the market came roaring back after an election, combined with APRA's changes to the deposit requirements and also to a couple of interest rate reductions. All of a sudden we saw property markets, particularly in Melbourne and Sydney, recover up to 10, 15, and in some markets even 17%. What that now meant is all of a sudden agents were back out doing a lot more buyer work, meeting lots of people to open for inspections, and all of a sudden quoting came back onto the agenda. Not because you were deliberately underquoting, but fundamentally the market had shifted that much that what you thought it was going to sell for was very different to what actually happened on auction day. Buyers started to get buyer fatigue. There was a real lack of supply of properties coming to market. And so a lot of the existing properties that had been on the market for some period in time had then actually started to sell. And this is an important part. What are the lessons that we can learn? To be a really good quality business owner, you want to make sure that you've got recurring revenue. That recurring revenue needs to be above your recurring expenses. And when it's above your recurring expenses, you can then have something that we go to call a recurring profit. Now that's a really important part because sales should always be the cream to the business, and the secret is about really building a rock solid business that can run all the time. Now, why this is fundamental is that if you're going to be a great principal, you want to be gearing your people up for what success looks like in 2020. This is about making sure that you start people back early. You've got plenty of open for inspections happening from the 11th and the 18th of January, and that you're in a position that you've got your first lot of auction campaigns from the 8th or the 15th of February. The reason why that's critically important is that we want to make sure that we've got plenty of time to write all of the numbers for the first quarter of 2020. What some of our agents are doing is that they've got a little page on their website called Listings in 2020, and literally it just has a list of all the properties that are coming now. Some agents are in a position that they're launching properties as forthcoming auctions, and this is a really important part because to build a great business, you need to get intentional about what it is that you do. So what you should do now is literally bring your whole team into the room, thank them so much for all of the energy and effort that they put in this year, then do a great strategic session on the stuff that really worked well and the things that would be even better if. And if we got that right, would fundamentally change the business. Now's the time to really plan to reset and to renew about what's incredibly important as we head into a new year. We look forward to seeing you next year.